Dapper. You notice the Paul and Mick have the same fashion consultant?
We got a 2-for-1 special with my coupons.
Coupon. Men's Warehouse, ladies and gentlemen. That dude is good. Our next guest, who in the hell would say this? Our next guest needs no introduction. Would I ever say that in my... Okay, but I'll be damned if I won't give it to him anyway. Hey, take my wife, please. This man is a WWE Hall of... I don't need anything written about this guy. I don't need anything written about this man, or any of these men, for that matter. I have great respect for everyone sitting here, all for various reasons, and some will be money. This next guest is arguably the greatest in-ring performer that ever lived. Okay, you killed my gimmick there. Stop the woo shit. He's a 16-time world champion. That doesn't happen by accident. I said one time that a lot of the wrestlers are using crayons, and he was Rembrandt using watercolors and painting portraits, because I believe that. He has a career spanned 4 decades, amazingly. He's just absolutely a treasure. And no matter what happens and what comes this way, he's always going to be my friend. And some of my greatest work, I've always said that wrestling announcers, like Happy Heyman and I, when we did WrestleMania 17 that was critically acclaimed, the wrestlers made the music. All we did was sit there and try to provide an appropriate lyric. It was amazing for me to be able to experience the music made by our next guest, the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I kind of feel like Lindsey Nelson in introducing Mickey Mantle. And if you don't know who that is, Google it. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, my God, finally. Great keyword here in the script. Great friend. Feels like family. Not to say that he wouldn't stomp a mud hole in my ass and walk it dry, because he did. Shut the front door. God almighty, are you mad at me? Oklahoma City, 2 days after WrestleMania 17, he beat the holy hell out of me in front of my family. But it's TV, JR. Let it roll. Without a doubt, he was the star of the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was a difference maker in corporate structure of WWE, in my opinion, creatively, because it allowed us to win the Monday Night Wars. It put the competition to rest, and we were able to successfully fend off the monies of the Turner Empire, and the rest is history. And it happened because of a lot of people, but no one more than the man I'm about to introduce. He introduced me in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2007. And when I got to thinking about this, well, we're going to induct you and the King, JR, in the Hall of Fame in 2007. I thought, well, that's a good way to get me out of the company. And it's also nice, but who do you want to induct you? Well, it was easy. It was very easy. The greatest star who sold more tickets, more pay-per-views, more video games, more T-shirts, more caps. And now he's the king of podcast. Hey, this is an adventure. If you guys haven't listened to this podcast, I'm telling you, you should listen to it. It is absolutely classic. Unfiltered, unedited, unrehearsed, unscripted. Stone Cold's podcast is amazing. So I'd like to introduce a man that has many names. He is known as the Bionic Redneck. He is known as the Texas Rattlesnake. I know him as my friend, even though he's a Texan, and I'm an Oklahoman, see? Please welcome the Hall of Famer, Stone Cold, Steve Austin. Steve wearing that pink shirt to celebrate my milestone here today.
JR called me today and said, hey, wear your pink shirt. I said, okay.
Exactly, brother. That's how we work. That's how we roll. All right, gentlemen, thank you and welcome. Thanks for joining us here. All of you, except for my friend, Mr. Heyman, are playable superstars in the WWE 2K14 game. And many of you are part of the much ballyhooed. Don't you love the word ballyhooed, Paul? Isn't ballyhooed a cool word?
It is as of this moment, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Ballyhooed. It's not spelled right on my script, but ballyhooed is what it is. 30 years, the ballyhooed 30 years of WrestleMania mode. You know, it's the damnest thing. It collects more than 45 of the greatest matches from the greatest show in history, WrestleMania. I can tell you that my goal, when I got to WWE 20 years ago this year, I had been in the business 19 years. But my goal was always to make it to WWE and to be a part of that one event called WrestleMania. And I think if you talk to NFL players, for example, what is your goal? To make the team, to make a couple of bucks, to pay child support for baby mama? Or is it to play in the Super Bowl? Well, hell, it's to play in the Super Bowl. WrestleMania is Super Bowl. It's bigger than the Super Bowl because we're in 160 countries in 30 languages. And Roger Goodell hasn't figured that out yet, how to get his league into that many territories. So let's kind of get into this thing with the talent that are here. Everybody knows that WrestleMania is the greatest spectacle in entertainment. I kind of just described that. But here's a question, fellas, listen to. What is the special importance that WrestleMania holds for you? So the question is, for WrestleMania itself, individually, personally, you haven't asked this question, these questions have been hermetically sealed in the old mayonnaise jar. God bless Johnny Carson. Daniel Bryant, we're going to start with you. And try not to go a three-letter word, but what does WrestleMania mean to you?
The most embarrassing moment of my career actually happened at WrestleMania. But it was also a turning point in my career. And so the fans at WrestleMania are awesome. And it's one of those things to walk out in front of 70 or 80,000 people just sends chills down your spine. And it's an incredible thing to be a part of. And I can't imagine being a part of it at the levels of some of the other guys on stage. But it's a dream. And that's what all of us aspire to, is the main event WrestleMania.
Mick Foley, your turn. What does WrestleMania personally mean to you?
Well, I first want to say about Daniel, I wonder, had it not been for that huge disappointment and the the gathering of the fans, like the emotion of the fans and the voice of the fans the next day. That really, my kids went to the show the next day at the Miami Arena, and they said it was like unlike anything they'd ever seen. The Daniel Bryan chants, that people were so disappointed that Daniel hadn't gotten his break that in a weird sense it kind of became in a strange way, his WrestleMania moment. And we all know we need that. And I went out in 2004 and I had a chance to do WrestleMania, my first match back in 4 years, where I teamed up with The Rock. And I told this story at the Hall of Fame. I said that I kind of got a little bit intimidated by the surroundings. I realized I was with The Rock, one of the biggest stars in the world, and I looked out into the ring, and I saw the Nature Boy out there, and I saw Evolution, and I said a prayer, and my prayer was, please God, don't let me suck. And I thought, well, that's not really shooting for the stars. And so I felt an enormous amount of pressure in 2006 when I knew it was my final chance to have that moment, because I really never had that great WrestleMania moment. And so for me, when I did deliver with Edge, it was like a giant weight off my shoulders. So it's our Super Bowl. It's unlike anything that I've ever been around. I love the fact that SummerSlam is coming so close, and for me, match for match, this SummerSlam has a chance to rival WrestleMania. And I think the guys are going to come through on an unbelievable level, but there was always this sense that it was our Super Bowl.
Ray, what about you? You've been in a lot of WrestleManias. What does WrestleMania mean to you as a performer, as an individual that got his opportunity to wrestle on this stage? What does it mean to you?
Well, I remember watching my first WrestleMania, which was WrestleMania 3, and I was in Mexico City at the time. And ever since that moment, I told myself I would really love to be part of that stage one day. And when that dream came true, it's just been nothing but excitement, emotion. It's really hard to explain that feeling that you get when you walk out and you feel like Daniel said, 80, 90,000 people, just that excitement, to let it sink in and enjoy the moment, So it's been very emotional, high roller coaster for me.
Dolph, you've kind of grown up in the WrestleMania era. What does WrestleMania mean to you?
Oh, yeah. Personally, you do strive to make goals for yourself. When 5 years old, I wanted to be a WWE superstar. At 15, I wanted to go to college and break records so I could be a WWE superstar. And then I finally got a contract, and people said, "Oh, you made it. You made it WWE." I go, "That's one of my goals. You want to become the best. You want to go on the biggest stage there is for the greatest wrestling company there is, and not just steal the show. Have that feeling where the 70 or 80,000 people just made that moment for you legendary." And I have yet to have something along those lines, but it's something that I strive for every single day, and I'm really looking forward to it.
You're poised for it. It's going to happen, I promise you. My friend Happy Heyman, Paul Heyman. Paul, even though you're not a competitor yourself, I know that you're a student. Obviously, we all know you're a student of the game. You're a lifelong fan. What is your insight on the importance, professionally, of being involved in WrestleMania?
It means you're accepted. It means you've made it. It's getting your jersey hung up in Madison Square Garden. It's growing up as a kid and getting one at-bat in Yankee Stadium. There is nothing else in this industry that compares to WrestleMania. Steve had a very famous saying that was probably even more famous behind the scenes, that if you're in WWE and you're not striving to become the champion, you're in the wrong business. And I think today, if you're in WWE and you don't obsess over getting to the main event of WrestleMania, you're in the wrong industry. The greatest moment I had as a color commentator was with JR, where we got to call Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. There's nothing I've ever done as a commentator. No, it was in Houston.
Astrodome.
It was in the Astrodome, and it was, I mean,
Sold out, brother.
nothing.
Turn away. Couldn't get a ticket.
Hanging from the rafters.
Nothing as a commentator compared to it. I got to be a manager.
Double juice with a strap.
I got to be a manager for the first time this year at a WrestleMania. Got to walk out to the ring first with CM Punk against The Undertaker. And to this day, if you ask CM Punk, who I think stole the show at WrestleMania this year, was he satisfied? He will look you square in the eye and say, no, because I didn't main event, and I will never be satisfied until I main event. When Brock came back, his selling point to me to come back was, psst, we're going to get to the main event of WrestleMania. There's a magic to this name. There is an aura to the name. And it goes far beyond, as a kid, Madison Square Garden or Yankee Stadium. And I would even suggest it goes now even beyond the championship itself. WrestleMania is the end-all, be-all. It's the focal point and the centerpiece of our industry, and it's what everybody in this company looks at 364 days a year for that final day where you say, I'm here tonight at WrestleMania.
Of course, and 2K Sports covers this WrestleMania feeling, the emotion, the intangible, unlike anybody else has ever done. End of October domestically, beginning in November internationally. It's amazing. Steve, we've had a lot of interesting answers here tonight about what WrestleMania means to everyone. You got anything to say that you haven't talked about in your podcast or you ever heard tonight, here today?
Well, since you brought up the podcast, it is a Steve Austin show. You can catch it at podcast1.com and iTunes, Sports and Recreation Division. It's in the top 5. Anyway, it's interesting. You see all these cats up here that go down their different roads in their careers as a professional wrestler, as a sports entertainer, as it is today. And you go through your fights, your struggles, your political struggles, all the BS that goes with it. And, the injuries, the sacrifices. And it's everybody's goal to be at the top of a card. And everybody knows on this stage that higher you are on that card, the higher you get paid. And so, Rick, you're a main eventer damn near your whole career. You always want to be on the top. Well, then at the end of the year, you got the biggest show of the year, and that's WrestleMania. You want to be on top of that sumbitch. You want to main event it. And not everybody can be a main eventer or main event in WrestleMania, but you want to be on that show. It is a big show. And when WrestleMania rolls around, it's time to put up or shut up, and that's the bottom line. You got to prove why you were on that card, wherever you were, much less the opening match or the main event, and that's the bottom line. It is a proving ground and a time to open up a can of entertainment whoop-ass for that crowd and take them on a story, a journey, and let them feel and see and enjoy all the different levels of the story that you're giving them. And that's all I got to say about that. It's a blast.
Well, the thing about it is that you can obviously see that everybody knows that all of us that have had the opportunity to participate in WrestleMania feel how special it is. And that's why this video game presentation that 2K Sports has captured is so extraordinary. We're going to feature more than 45 of the greatest WrestleMania matches in history. And so the question would be, what contests or moments would you like to see included on this list for our panel? Be thinking about it. What moments, what matches would you like to see on that list for our longtime fans to either relive or our younger fans or younger consumers to experience for the first time? And that's the beauty of this video game. For the longtime fans and diehards and who've seen it all and lived through it all, you're going to love reliving this because it's authentic. The ones that are new are going to love the history lesson. So, Steve, you've been a student of the game. You are a student of the game. What matches would you want to see as a fan on this video game? Anything special that if you said, okay, I definitely want to see blank match from WrestleMania on this DVD, and you got 29 of them to choose from, which one match would you like to see?
Wait, kid, before you say that, I know we all want to hear it. There's a gentleman here didn't get to talk about what WrestleMania meant to him.
You saved me for last. Calm down. I'm the showstopper.
Mick, it's called Hot Tag.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You let me book the match here?
Work with us, Mick. You know, there's a bunch of people out here.
He thought you were forget about
Okay,
me.
okay.
I thought
Since
you
old
didn't-
Mick screwed up my hot tag and my big moment with his
JR's
comedic
peripheral
timing.
vision isn't the best in the world, but surely he sees Ric Flair over there. He's building
I was
this thing,
waiting.
Mick. Work
I had
with
to-
us. We're trying to
me
build
for
this thing
last,
up.
Mick. Calm down.
You don't glue the hot tag.
I felt
Go
in my
roll
heart.
around on some thumbtacks and don't interfere, okay?
Nate,
I felt
Nate.
like we'd forgotten Rick, and I wanted
We
to make
hadn't
sure it
forgotten
didn't
Mick.
happen.
You
All
talk,
right,
we got the
my
greatest
bad.
announcer
My
in the
bad.
history of the business running this show, and he's going to forget about Ric Flair.
I'm trying to do the right thing, damn it.
Relax, kid.
When we got
Relax.
Mick into those double knits out of those sweatpants, something happened.
Chicks in New York are paying top dollar for that stuff.
Nate, considering Mick, God bless Michael Francis Foley, if you wanted, would you like, you were a star before you ever debuted at WrestleMania. You were the nature boy. You came into WrestleMania 8. You think I'm not prepared? You think I just showed up, Mick, in sweats for the hell of it? Wait till I come to the, where's that show again tomorrow night? Come on, help me.
The Improv tickets are still
Yeah,
available.
wait till I
and-
get the,
No, they're not. They're
wait till I get
sold
the
out.
improv
They're
tomorrow
sold out.
night. I'm going to open up a comic can of whoop ass on you,
There you
at the
go.
improv tomorrow night.
I was
Cheap
trying
plug.
to give Rick the hot tag here.
Nate,
You're not calling this match,
You're not
Mick.
in the
Do you
match.
not understand that?
I'm
You're
leaving the
not
match.
calling this match.
all right, he'll be back. He's got to go to the bathroom. He'll be back in a minute. Hey, Nate,
Yes, sir.
WrestleMania 8, you were there, right?
Yep.
You were already first ballot Hall of Famer. But at that point in your career, finally getting to that stage, what did it mean to you as nature? Because there was no bigger star on WrestleMania 8, in my opinion, than Nature Boy Ric Flair, brother.
Well, WrestleMania 8 was me and Savage, correct? I don't keep credit for the dates, right?
Check.
It
Ask
was
Foley, he knows everything.
No, it was. I had been working for the NWA and WCW for years, and I just couldn't put up with it anymore. And I had talked to Vince 20 times, and 20 times I just felt loyal to the company and to the NWA. When you're the NWA champion, you assume a lot of responsibility. But I finally said, hell, in the words of Steve Austin, hell yeah, I'm coming. So I went up there, and man, I'm telling you, there's nothing like WrestleMania. I mean, guys, I wrestled in front of 200,000 people in North Korea. I've been in Japan 69 times. 69 times.
Okay, no, there's no subliminal information on that 69.
No, I'm just saying that there's nowhere I've ever been. But the biggest moment of my career, after all the stuff I've done, was walking out that deal in Indianapolis and wrestling Savage. And it was not a good time because Randy and Elizabeth were not getting along, but we made music. And Kurt Hennig, who was, God rest his soul, was with me. And I want to say that we tore the joint down. It was great. And what I'm sad about is Randy's not here anymore, Kurt's not here anymore, Elizabeth's not here anymore. I'm the only one left in that match. And I think about that all the time. My second, or actually my biggest match, though, was against Shawn Michaels. That's okay.
We're going to get to that.
You know, my Shawn Michaels match when I retired, I got inducted in the Hall of Fame and got retired the next day. And
It's Shawn Michaels Day.
Huh?
Later. That's the big finish.
What's that?
You're killing my finish here.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then, of course, another big moment was.
They know it's a work.
Hey. But I want to tell you, another big moment was when I signed
Go
with
ahead. What the hell?
WWE in
I'll be back in an
2001. I go to Vince. I said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "I just want you to come up here and walk and talk, right?" Well, I wasn't there 6 weeks, and he wanted to wrestle me at Royal Rumble, right? I said, "Oh, that's nice. I mean, but I am not really prepared. I haven't worked out in a year, right?" So then all of a sudden, Hunter walks up to me one day and says, "Taker wants you at WrestleMania in Toronto." And man, that was something else. And I'll give you some information about Taker. You guys all know about that flip I do in the rope, right? Upside down on the thing, right? Well, I missed it the first time. And Undertaker looked at me and said, "You ready to try it again, kid?" I said, "God's honest truth." I said, "Hell yeah, man." Upside down, boom, out, whacked myself, and the rest was history. But it's the truth, and there's nothing like WrestleMania. And what he's making reference to, it was me, Dave Bautista, and Randy Orton, WrestleMania, the 20th anniversary, against him and The Rock. Are you kidding? We stole it. You shit me? Nobody could follow that shit. You think Goldberg did it? I mean, give me a break. Nobody could follow that match. You kidding me? The Rock was doing this shit. I was doing my shit. Mick was rolling around the thumbtacks. We stole it. But as usual, we lost. I ain't won a match yet.
As
You realize
usual,
that?
I lost.
Yeah, no. I'm teaching the Miz the figure four, and I said, "Miz, I never beat anybody with that. Why do you want to learn to hold? In 40 years, nobody ever submitted the figure four. Are you kidding me? I've had it on Austin 25 times. He just grabs the rope." Anyway, I love you guys. I'm honored to be here, and there's nothing like WWE. And I'm going to share a special moment, which I feel like everybody needs to know. 5 months ago, my son died. And when they were closing his casket, I took one of my Hall of Fame rings from my retirement, and I put it on his hand. And my oldest son was there at the time, before they closed the coffin. I took my one from the Four Horsemen and gave it to him. So I went to NXT about 2 months ago, and I walked in, and Hunter says, "I need to talk to you." I figured I was in trouble already, and I don't, like I was gonna go crazy in the show or something, right? And the company gave me another one with my son's engraved name in it. And there's nothing like the WWE. I mean, I want to tell you the events are phenomenal, and they are. But working for these guys is like working for the best people in the world. They take care. That might be hard, but they don't ask anything of you that they won't do themselves. I'm talking about us as the performers. I mean, that's just the way it is. They're awesome people. And I think that the combination of the game and these guys will be great. And I'm here, and as you know, I'm staying all night, and I'm staying a little longer. I'm dancing all night, and I'm dancing longer. I'm taking Steve Austin out because I'm doing his podcast tomorrow. If he doesn't come out, I ain't doing the podcast. I got leverage. And by the way, his podcast with me for 3 hours, if we're drinking beer, will rock it right to number one, okay? There you go. Good Lord. Love you guys. Thanks. And thank you for all the respect. WWE and this game were made for each other. Thank you so much. Hell, I'm going to the bar, Jim. Let's go.
Well, that was interesting.
It's the truth.
It screwed my damn script up they wrote.
I got 3 Hall of Fame rings.
All right.
Nobody even knows it.
We're talking about now trying to get back on track here. That was great. That's the great thing about this event. These guys, they don't have a clue what I'm going to ask them. We don't do any rehearsals. We don't do any walkthroughs. This is organic and as real as it can get, which I think is actually a compliment to you guys, because we want you to be entertained and feel real, and this is real. And Steve, any match in the first 29 WrestleMania?
Any match.
Any of them?
Any match, no.
Nothing
no
special?
specific matches, and they're all great matches to
Yeah.
me.
I think once you
got
get
a
there-
hell of a roster there, kid. Just
Yeah.
book a match, let them wrestle.